Welcome, everybody, to Beyond the Shadows. I'm author and historian Mike Ricksecker. With me, as always, Shauna Wankel, our chat shenanigator from Edge of the Rabbit Hole, and a fantastic writer in her own right. So, yes, I am dressed up in the detective persona tonight because we're talking about solving the mystery of the paranormal. And on the Facebook version, you just got the whole rundown for Hunt a Killer. I will, when we put this up on YouTube, but we'll go ahead and put the discount codes and everything up on there because it's a really cool mystery in a box thing that you guys will really like. And we're going to preview that whole thing on our Amityville video coming up on the Hunter Road Media channel. But solving the mystery of the paranormal, which is basically, to me, trying to figure out exactly what is paranormal activity. What is it that we're experiencing? Who are we experiencing there at these different haunted locations? Maybe a spirit attachments, demons, whatever. There's a lot of different things that we experience when it comes to the paranormal, and it's all very mysterious. And we always say that everything's based on theories, but at some point, we kind of have to start breaking down these theories and get to the root of the matter. And I kind of started doing that, shameless plug, with A Walk in the Shadows, as we dive down the rabbit hole of shadow people and exactly who and what shadow people are. So yeah, pre-order until January 21st when it actually becomes officially for sale. But yeah, so who and what are these things that we're actually experiencing? We take it could be a ghost, like a residual haunt, just energy that's trapped within there. It could be an intelligent haunt, something that's interacting with us constantly. More of an intelligent haunt that's a spirit attachment, like you and Molly. There's what we call, we talked about it last night about poltergeists, and there's poltergeist and poltergeist activity. So I figured that we'd just kind of dive into some of these different topics and just see where we get. I'm sure you guys are going to have lots of questions down there in the chat. Feel free to throw those out there, and we'll see where it goes. So Robert Hanna is now saying that it's unavailable now on Amazon. Yeah, Amazon's confused about what to do with this because the pre-order dates got screwed up with the distributors. Barnes & Noble has it correctly for pre-order right now, so you can go to barnesandnoble.com and grab it there. If Amazon's giving you fits. The pre-order for Kindle is like the one that was like completely successful and didn't get totally screwed up. So, well, yeah, official release date is January 21st. So, solving the mystery of the paranormal. Let's throw this out there just real quick. Is this a mystery that can be solved, or are we just going to be spinning our wheels?
I mean, there are certain parts of the investigations that we do that you can solve a mystery. Like the grade school, why are we hearing footsteps on a second floor when there's not a second floor? I feel pretty confident that mystery was solved.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great example.
Yeah. There's going to be some times when every once in a while one of them will throw you a bone, and be like, give a name, and then if you dig and you dig and you dig, because that's what you do when you're trying to solve a mystery with paranormal, and every once in a while something will pan out where you didn't even know this person existed. You have a name, you do some research, and then you apply that. Don't sit on it and keep it to yourself. Use it whenever you go back to talk to this spirit. Don't wait for a TV show to snap it up. Well, look what I got. Go back to where you got it. In the past, we've taken our audio recorder right back, or taken, where the spirits can hear the playback and be like, this is whenever I say we ask you questions and we have something that can record your answers, this is what it does. This is you. This is what you said. Is this you? And we'll throw some names out. We threw some names out there of people that, we thought that it might be. And, we can never say anything is 100%, but sometimes the reactions are pretty strong. So you have to assume that that's a positive reaction to something that you've just exposed them to, like with Molly. I don't know if that's her name, but it was a pretty strong reaction to it. So I'm going to go out on a limb and have a very strong opinion about that one. I'm going to assume that that's her name.
Yeah, until something else proves you otherwise.
Until something proves me wrong, and I could be way off.
Yeah.
I could be way off.
Yeah, and that particular, the first example that you gave with the grade school, it's still, we still don't know for sure whose residual energy is creating those footsteps, but we did solve, at least for us, how we were hearing footsteps on a second floor that didn't exist. It's a one-floor school. We were hearing these footsteps from up above, and checking out the crawl space up there, the attic space. There's no floor to walk upon, so it's not like somebody could have been walking around up there and mysteriously died or something like that, and their energy stayed up there to walk around. I mean, it's just rafters up there in blown-in insulation. So you're not going to have that up there. But through the research that we did there, we discovered that, okay, the school was actually placed into an archaeological dig site, so the land would have been higher before the school was built. And given that it was an area rich with Native American history, it stood to reason that there could have been a building, because that was where our research was going, was trying to find another building on that location. Yeah. And we were finding ones near it, like the old high school was near it, but not exactly on it.
Yeah, you could, literally, it was, a right angle.
Yeah. It was adjacent to it. Yeah.
Adjacent to it. So it's just like, boom, you could stand in front of one and reach out and touch, the other. They were almost on the same property, but what we were hearing was directly above us and not off in a distance. So, and then I remember, time standing, in it's a bar now, but,
right.
Even when it was really quiet, you didn't really, hear that same thing. So it was definitely coming from over there.
Oh, sure.
And
one of the few things your dad actually acknowledged, like, okay, I hear that one.
Yeah. And I explained to him, I was like, it's not, technically, you're not interacting with a spirit. You're interacting with energy of something that used to walk up there all the time. Only it's not up in there. Whenever I explained it to him, what we figured out, and he was like, he got that squinty eyes and they're thinking about it for a minute, and I was like, I know, but that it is what it is.
Yep. So
that's what it is.
So it stands to reason that a building that would have been on there to make those sounds, for somebody to walk and make those sounds, would have been before the dig site. That there would have been something there, because the level of the ground was higher, and you can actually see the terracing still within the location of how they dug and created that location, that site. So, grand old folks, Betty Lange asked, do we want it to be solved? Or do we just want to perpetuate the mystery? It's a good question.
I feel like there's always, once one mystery is solved, this universe is going to produce another one. There's always going to be a mystery. We can't have all the answers. I think whenever we stumble across the answers, it's a mix of, I feel like it's a mix of the universe allowing it so that we keep interested in it. The universe wants us to be interested in stuff like that, I believe.
And it could even be one of those that, I think human nature is that, we're curious. We're curious souls, and we want a puzzle to solve. We want something to explore. And I think when we've kind of conquered something, if there isn't something else to go after, then we kind of create it on our own. I don't know how many of you've watched Memento, but it's a great point of where he's trying to solve the mystery of his wife's murder, and it's getting pointed out to him along the way that he actually, because he has short-term memory loss, or long-term memory loss. He has long-term memories and short-term memory loss. He can't make new memories, basically what it is. And so along the way, he's deleting information that he had once before. So he's perpetuating this mystery, even though it gets shown to him later on that he had previously solved it, and it's just this on and on and on, a case he can never solve. So I think there is a degree to it that humans want something to continuously seek. But I think we're far from discovering what exactly is paranormal, supernatural. We have some ideas, and we're still in that discovery mode. I don't think we're, like I said, I think we have some good ideas, but I don't think we're too close to like real solid answers. I think it's like case by case, like something like with that, with the grade school, like in that particular instance with that particular residual haunt. I think we figured out what that was.
Didn't figure out who it was.
Right. Yeah, we don't know whose footsteps it was, but how those footsteps are being made on a floor that doesn't exist. So, and Bree Jones is maintaining her longhouse idea, and it very well could have been.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know who or the exact building that had been there, but we have figured out how a building could have been there. Because otherwise it was just floating around in space, which didn't make any sense.
Yeah, and there had been another building or two, but they'd all been one floor, one story. So yes, there had been another building, but not quite the building that we were looking for. So,
yep. Robert Hanna says or asks, I know that poltergeist phenomena and poltergeists themselves are. I guess maybe they got mistyped, but are they usually just human spirits trying to get attention? I guess I'll just talk about poltergeists here real quick. So with poltergeists, so a lot of people get confused between a poltergeist and a manifestation of PK activity. So they're two different things creating the same result. So a poltergeist, a noisy ghost, is an actual spirit that is, being noisy, throwing things around, things like that. There's also the PK manifestation, telekinesis, in which a human being is, manifesting that, where it's generating the things being thrown around and things like that. We call that, quote unquote, poltergeist activity. So they are, with their telekinesis, mimicking what a poltergeist would do. So a poltergeist is one thing, a person with telekinesis is one thing, but they can both do the same activity. So there you go. Hope that clears it up. I know a lot of people get confused on that one. So yeah, Andrea Agra saying Mike looks like a 1940s detective with the hat. Well, that's the look I'm going for, is trench coat and fedora. Sean Whittington last night when I was on his show Vegas Supernatural had made a remark that I haven't seen you wear the hat for a long time, and it had been a long time since I'd worn the hat. We'll use it for our giveaways, so usually there's like a bunch of names in the hat and I just don't get rid of it. I'm
just going as myself.
I
didn't realize there was a dress code.
No, there's not a dress code, but
I am wearing a Haunted Road.
You are wearing Edge of the Rabbit Hole hoodie, so there you go.
Haunted Road Media merch.
That's right.
Still
representing. And actually tomorrow, speaking of the merch, tomorrow out on Spreadshirt, our merch shop, we'll start a sale for 20% off of everything. So you didn't even know that.
I didn't even know that.
But that was a great segue right into that. I used to wear the hat a little bit more often, like really early in the days of the channel on YouTube. So, and in fact, the first manifestation of the channel, I actually lost the hat for a while. This is another incarnation of it. I have no idea what happened to the original. And this really isn't, they call it a fedora, but it's not a real fedora. I call this a Walmart fedora, but it's in similar style. So, all right. So, let's see if you guys have any additional questions. Yeah, Nick Moulet is like in the 20% off, which is good. I wish they would have had that like right before Christmas. That would have like really been helpful for people for gift ideas. Mm-hmm. And Andrea saying, I wish the hats would be more back. And so, I mean, to each their own style, I guess. These days I see some people wear it, some people not. Like our buddy Santiago Cirillo wears this style hat a lot. Mm-hmm. So some people do. It's just not like you were saying, dress code is not so much of that like it had been like in the 30s and 40s or whatever, So, all right, what else do we want to hit for? Because there's so many different ways we could take trying to solve the mysteries of the paranormal, because there's so many different topics we can hit. I think, me personally, and I talked a little bit about this on the podcast that I put out earlier today, where heading into 2020, this decade, I kind of reflected a bit back on the previous decade and how things have progressed with Haunted Road Media, with my own personal research. And I think a great example actually is, this book here, where this is kind of like the primer. It's kind of like the 101 book, kind of gives you, the basics of, at least for shadow people, here's all the different characteristics. That's like the first third of the book. Then gets into some other, we get into sleep paralysis, stuff like that, interdimensional beings, simulated universe type stuff. But it's really just kind of scratching the surface of all those different topics. It kind of puts ideas out there, for people to further research and maybe start to make their own deductions, which, to me was really kind of like the past decade. I think this decade, and continuing on with Haunted Road Media, is we're going to be diving deeper into these topics. We're going to be no longer just scratching the surface, but really, doing the deep research to try to figure out what exactly is going on here. My big thing is the shadow people, all that. But even with our regular investigations, I think we're getting deeper into how we investigate. We've used the gizmos and gadgets and things like that, but I think in our investigations we've been going more away from that lately. But I think we've actually been getting better quality results, getting away from all of those different crazy electronics.
Yeah, really, you need a video camera to hopefully, capture something on film. And, video camera provides audio, but digital recorders to capture audio. I would say, even using a K2, if you're not next to it, where then nothing's setting it off sometimes, but there's a lot of times we've had to rule out, throw it out as evidence whenever it starts going off, just because, you never know. So, there's no need to just have, gadgets just all over the place. Some of them are going to be completely irrelevant. And in my own personal opinion, stuff that I would never consider legitimate, but not everybody agrees with me, and I'm aware of that, and we're all aware of that. So, but trust your body first. You really are your own tool, your own instrument. The human body can perceive things that sometimes electronics cannot. So it's very frustrating sometimes.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot in the past, about how your body is your best tool. And I think as we continue down this path and keep exploring and keep researching, we've talked before, like one of our last shows of 2019 was the connected universe. And yeah, your device might be able to pick up some EMF and stuff like that, but where we're really going to be tapping into more of the paranormal supernatural world is our connection to it, the way we connect to those different things that are going on. Whether that's we could be tapping into a certain time and a place when we've heard those stories about how you walk into a location, it seems like the spirits there think that you're the ghost, and so that's you connecting with that location and with those people that had been there, or maybe they're still there. Maybe you've gone back in time, and your device isn't going to be able to generate that. That's you connecting with it, your energy connecting with the energy that's there.
Yeah, because for example, when I saw Byron, every time we'd come in there, we'd bring something, and we'd always have to explain, because they didn't know what that stuff was back then. We're talking, mid 1800s or whatever. They didn't have stuff like that in that small little area and back in that time, and so we would have to constantly explain what we were using, when we used it, so that he would know don't be afraid of it. Never bring something around you that is going to hurt you. So, but then I fully think that the day that I saw him is because I just told him, it's just you and me, kid. It's just me in here, just you in here. I don't have any of the toys, any of the stuff I don't have anything in here with me. It's just me and you. If you let me see you right now, not one single person's going to see you other than me. I'll count to 3. And that's how it happened. I think that since he thought it was just me and him in there, I think that's why he allowed me to see him. I think he allowed that to happen, or somebody allowed that to happen. I think if left to his own devices to make his own decisions as a kid, a lot more stuff would have happened.
Right.
But I think somebody allowed it because we weren't doing any of this stuff that they're not used to. It's just me and him. So
yeah, you kind of have to keep in mind when you come in with all these gadgets and gizmos, if you're trying to interact with somebody from 1700s, 1800s, even 100 years ago, early 1900s, they're not really going to understand what it is that you have in your hand. You trying to say that this is a light, make the thing light up. They might not even understand the concept of lighting up because they may not have had any sort of electronics or the electric light bulb or anything at the time. So how do you have to really draw out and explain what it is when I've sadly seen investigations where somebody's like, can you make my K2 lighter, my K2 meter light up? And it's like, you're in a building that was built in 1750. They are not going to understand what a K2 meter is, let alone make the thing light up. So
not calling anybody out.
No, not at all. But I've seen it happen.
If you are a person that has done that, I will just say this: if you continue to do that, do it this way. Hold it up. You don't even know if they can see you. Sometimes I think they can, sometimes I think they can't. But if you're going to ask them to perform something for you, then you hold it up. You'd be like, hi, this is me. This is the room that I'm in. This is where I'm at in the room. This is what I'm holding in my hand. This is what color it is. This is what it's called. It's not going to hurt you, but if you do this, this is what's going to happen. You might think it's cool if you can see it. Don't even know if you can see it. But if you're going to please light my K2 meter up, you better explain it to them because they're not going to know what that is. And we can't just assume.
If it's the spirit of a paranormal investigator, like somebody that you knew, somebody that you'd known that had passed away, that had been a paranormal investigator, you could actually get away with saying that. And that's like one of the few cases.
Yeah. And even just because not everything is 100%, be like, I know you know what this is, but just in case we have to have a refresher course, this is what I got. You know what it does. Let's just make it happen, and sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
It really does.
So since we're on this topic of gadgets, Michelle Judkins Allison asked, and this is going to be your favorite question.
I'm going to try to be so nice about it too, because I know people are watching and use them.
Yep. Do you think spirit boxes are spirits speaking?
No.
No.
No,
We actually have an entire Beyond the Shadows episode. Maybe it was still Inside the Upside Down at the time, on breaking down how basically I don't believe spirits speak in radio, because in order for it to pick up on that, it has to get it has to be a radio signal that the device picks up on. If you're talking about the classic like ghost box that cycles through the radio stations and all that, the other concept is that basically like they know what the little pieces are going to be and somehow arrange it all together the right way, which I don't think that could possibly do that. Also, when it comes to like the apps, I'll throw the apps in there as well. Being a programmer, I know how those could easily be manipulated to make it seem like there are spirits speaking through that and communicating. Now, I will say that like through something like white noise, I do believe that they could actually speak through white noise, because basically that's just electricity through a wire to a speaker. I'm fine with that. And I have, had experiences where it's like, okay, that does seem like a response, but 99% of the time, no. And I know it's not a popular opinion, because people really like to use those devices because it seems like they're having a conversation back and forth, and people like the whole idea of the immediate response. But to me, I guess playing it safer, which maybe not necessarily the best term to use, but or something much more reliable to me, that if you want to almost like an immediate response, would be to do a burst EVP session where you ask 3 questions over. I mean, it takes about 20 seconds, really 20 to 30 seconds. Ask a question, wait a few seconds, ask another, and I've been very successful with that. Quick example, it's actually part of Campfire Tales Midwest, the first story there, where we're in a cave down from where an old asylum had been, and they'd held the bodies in that cave. We're doing a burst EVP session, and we get this EVP that says go deep, where there was this little stream that was running through there up into the wall. And so we're like, go deep. Well, maybe we need to get closer to the entrance of this creek coming through the wall. So we go up near that entrance, do another burst EVP session, and we get go deeper. It's like, well, nobody's going to crawl up there, but still, it's like we're having a little bit of a conversation there. We didn't need to use a gadget other than, an audio recorder. And to me, that's much more reliable.
I mean, I get it too. I really want to have full-blown conversations with spirits too. I do. I really, really, really do. And sometimes I have them just in my head, and that's very frustrating too, because not everybody shares it. It's just me saying, oh yeah, I hear this. Well, and then I second guess myself. Sometimes I'm like, well, what if I'm hearing it because my brain says I should have an answer because I just asked a question. So now what if my own brain is playing tricks on me? And I second guess myself all the time. But those boxes and the apps and stuff like that, I in my own personal opinion, I find them 100% repulsive, and I will not ever use one. But I know other people do, and I get why they do. I understand. Otherwise, if you don't have that immediate response, then unless you're hearing stuff inside your head or other stuff's going on, paranormal investigating is boring. I mean, I get it. I mean, it's not boring for me, but I can see how it would be, for others who, some people just doing it just because, oh, this is creepy cool, let's do this. Well, I'm not getting anything after 5 minutes. See you later. Oh, well, wait a minute. I have this. Oh, someone's talking to me. It's got to be a ghost. No, it does not.
Or you wait around for the ghost radar to show you that somebody's nearby.
No.
Oh, there's the new one. There's the new one with the little pendant that lights up if there's a ghost nearby.
Okay. I'm going to tell you this now. We have Paracon coming up. If just one of you shows up with that, I'm going to take it off. I'm going to throw it at your head. Do not show up with that. And expect me to have any respect for you. Do not show up with that on.
That's funny. She's going to get violent on you.
Such a waste of money. And the same rules apply also, again. If you're on my team, do not fire up a ghost box or a ghost app, because you will be sent to another team. Thank you. It worked out just fine last time.
Yeah, because we actually
We saw a girl.
Yeah, we were the non-spirit box group, and we saw the apparition of a little girl. 5 of us did. So that worked out
And
really
Dustin, who's down in there, that was his first one.
Yep.
So I feel like it was a productive evening.
well. Well, another hot button topic for you: crossing over.
Oh man.
I mean, that is a we're talking paranormal mystery. So how does the whole crossing over thing work? But this is actually really interesting. This is from Brent Burris. It says, one of our investigations, I caught an EVP, a spirit asking for help to the light. Really caught me off guard. Do you think that spirit may have known I could help them? So I mean, that's to me one of the few cases in which, because we've talked about the ethics behind crossing people over. That was a question that was brought up to me last night in the interview that I did. To me, that's a case where it's like, okay, that spirit's actually asking for it.
I mean, if at that point I'd be like, look, I don't know where you're going to go, but if you see a light, go to it. Go. I don't know what's in it. I don't know what's on the other side of it. And I would feel weird about telling one to go to it. You're probably not going to see me walk into a building and just tell everybody, hey, everybody, bye. I mean,
yeah, that's not going to happen.
Go to the light. I mean, or just, I crossed you over. Well, where did I just cross them over to? I don't know. I don't feel like I personally have that authority, because I would never send somebody to somewhere where I had no idea what was going to happen to them.
Yeah, and to me, it's a question of ethics. Forcing somebody to do something they may not want to do. There may be a reason that they're sticking around. Now, some people may not even realize that they've died, and there's also some ethics in that. Do you let them know that they're dead? I feel that you don't. Maybe somewhere along the way, as you're continuing to converse with them, they'll figure it out, and then maybe they'll want to go over. But I don't think you should just push somebody across. And I gave the example last night in that interview of my grandfather when he passed away. He hung around for a few years until my grandmother passed away, and that was comforting for her while she was in her last days, just the way she was comforting for him, even she was still alive in his last days. So to me, it would have been appalling if somebody would have come along while his spirit was there and forced him to move on somewhere, and then my grandmother would have been without him. And from a selfish point of view, of course, I would have missed my grandfather, because he came to visit me. He came to visit different aunts and uncles. He was going around visiting people, primarily my grandmother, until she passed away, and then they both went on together. Haven't heard hide nor hair from them, except for one visitation in a dream since then. So I think spirits, if they're still hanging around here, there's a reason for it. And I don't think it's up to us to just assume that, well, they're lingering around, we need to push them out or whatever. We can't assume what that reason is until we've done enough research, we've done enough investigating, we've had enough interactions with the spirit that we know. I mean, you've had this attachment to Molly for almost 2 years now. It's been at least a year and a half since our 2 Paracons ago. You've had a lot of interaction with her, but even in all that time, you don't feel like you really know her all that well.
I don't even know if that's her name.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you're assuming it is because of her reaction to it, but it takes a lot of time to really get to know some of these spirits.
She's been following me around for a while. I can't tell you what her favorite color is. I can't tell you. I can tell when she's uncomfortable. I can tell when she's uncomfortable. I can tell when she's just, I'm just chill. I'm just chilling because you're chilling or whatever. I can tell. I know when I get upset. I can tell when she gets upset. I don't know if I told you that or not, but I'm starting to kind of feel that stuff sometimes now. And so I kind of have to be like, hey, I'm sorry, everything's okay. We're fine. We'll be fine, and I couldn't even tell you what she looks like. Every once in a while I'll get like a little flash through my head and I'm like, maybe not, I will say, I think she's here because she chooses to be. Obviously, I didn't say, hey, come with me. I just happened to notice I was seeing something that I wasn't seeing before, and I just put the two and two together, and then, now I see it all the time. And she doesn't get like way up close in my face or anything, but she's just kind of in the perimeter. She's usually just, a little bit away just from wherever I'm at. And I think whenever it's her time to go, it's her time to go. Whenever she doesn't want to follow me anymore, or whatever it is that she's waiting for, I can't say, well, maybe she was just waiting for someone to notice her. Now that I've done that, now I'm keeping her here.
Right.
It's like, I hope that's not true. I feel like if she wants to go, she'll go. And I've told her, it's like, I'll sit down and talk. I feel like I'm talking to myself, but I'm really talking to her. I sit down, sometimes and be like, hey, I really enjoy, your company. I enjoy that you're around. I wish that you talked more. I wish that you would answer some of my questions, but if you ever feel like you need to leave or you need to go somewhere else, then go. Like leave me a sign or something, but just if you've got to go. I've had very, heart to heart talks with her about stuff. It's like, I'm just going to talk to you guys. You probably already know the answer to this and you can't tell me, but, this is what I feel like is what's going on right now. If you can answer me, great. But if you can't answer me, I just want you to know that I don't want to keep you here. So, yeah. And
so we have,
I don't know.
Yeah, we have a couple of related questions to all this. So I'll throw both of them out here at the same time. This is from Zippy. I was watching another YouTuber the other day. He had a medium, and this medium said no spirit can be helped to cross over unless on their own power. Is that true? And then Kathy Ciliento, devil's advocate here, can we make them leave? I don't believe we can tell them shoo if they don't want to go. So, those are very good questions. And, I've been there in the room when, people have, made others cross over. And I'm, I take it kind of with a grain of salt. Those that were performing the ceremony said that, they opened up some white light and they asked them to move on. They went on. The most that I kind of felt was, we kind of opened up this circle. We were in a circle. We opened up the circle, and I did feel something pass by me. I'd already known the spirit was in the room. I could feel that spirit was in the room. As far as the whole crossing over thing, I don't know, because it's not like I saw a white light, and I certainly didn't see the ascension of something into this white light. Can we force somebody to go if they don't want to go? That's a good question, because I believe that we have free will. So, can a spirit, if somebody's trying to make them cross over, just, give that person the finger? Probably.
I would. If someone, told me, up my business, hey, it's time to go. Especially if I wasn't doing anything wrong. If I'm being a pain in your ass, and I'm deliberately trying to do things that are mean and to hurt you, and you tell me to get stepping, yeah, I'm probably going to, I put up a little bit of a fight, but I'll probably go. I mean, now the one at the house in Alton, I screamed at that one, because that one was not there when I got there. It was just one of those passing through spirits, and it was doing things that it should not have been doing. And, messing with my stuff in the kitchen, trying to ruin my Thanksgiving dinner. I was mad. Oh my God, I was so mad. And I was so tired because I sat in that kitchen all damn night. But every time I leave the room, it would turn my roaster off, and it was starting to really piss me off. And then it was behind me when I got out of the shower, and that really pissed me off. So, and it just kind of all came to a head. And I didn't even realize how much the energy in the house had changed until I put my foot down and told it, you're You do not live here. You do not belong here. You have not always been here, so you are no longer welcome here. And I itemized, ticked off the list of all the things. I was like, it's not okay. I'm not doing it anymore. Go, And then for some reason I thought that, using loud decibels would do the trick. And so I did.
You're yelling at it.
I screamed at it. I know my neighbors heard me. And they're a band. Mm-hmm. My neighbors were in a band and they played constantly until I went over and shut them up. But, and I'm sure they heard me, But then after that, I didn't even realize that it was, I didn't realize how heavy it was in that house until after. Because even though the lights were on, it was all of a sudden a little lighter, you know? And it just wasn't so hard to breathe in there anymore. And I didn't realize, and was it a demon? No. I think it was just
it's a nasty person. It was a jerk.
Just an asshole.
Yeah. And there's something it's different. There's a difference between crossing somebody over and just booting them out of your house. Like when we've done house cleansings, the episode that we did for Animal Planet, The Haunted, we had Carl Johnson come out. That cleansing that we did in that house, we pushed it out of the house and off the property. Don't know where it went. We weren't trying to cross the thing over somewhere or whatever. We were just getting it off of the property to stop bothering the family. Another great example is when the hitchhiker that we had in the car.
Oh my God.
And we're just like, nope, you need to get out of the car. I mean, we were just at a rest stop. I don't know if it jumped in at the rest stop or while we were driving just afterward, but all of a sudden, boom, there was something there, and it's like,
it put its hands on me. I was like, no, I blew it off because I was like, well, maybe it was my hair. And then it happened again. I'm like, no, this isn't happening. And then all of a sudden it was a, yep, I'm back here. You got it right the first couple of times, grab. And I'm like, something just touched me in the back seat. I'm like, it needs to go. It needs to go right now. And I was like, we opened the doors. We were just like, go. Yeah. So we booted it out of the car. Didn't send it on to the next, realm, level, whatever. It just got out of the car. My question is for people who cross people over, how do you know where they went?
What are you crossing them over to? Right.
What are you crossing them over to? And how do you know they got there?
Yeah.
This is all legitimate questions now.
Yeah. And I've always questioned the process. So the person's supposed to envision the white light to push this person through the white light. Well, like I said, being a part of those, I don't see the white light. So how do I know that this spirit is seeing the white light in order to cross over to it? So a lot of questions with the entire process. So you could chalk it up to, again, another mystery of the paranormal or supernatural.
I'm sure it's a popular ability to have, And I mean...
So, and Kathy Ciliento says, Mike, okay, I hope this is not getting too picky, but what if I felt in the circle group, or what if what I felt in the circle group was just the energy of all the people there standing together, and that's what you felt? Well, I mean, there is something to be said for group psychosis and, people projecting their own energy to create something. Now, the one example that I gave, I had already felt this entity's energy within that room. It was kind of hanging out on the one side of the room, and there was a doorway to a bathroom and all that. It was over there, and that's kind of where I was investigating. And when we opened that circle, it did feel like it passed by me. Now the whole moving on somewhere or whatever, I don't know, because I didn't see it or witness it or anything like that. And I haven't been back to the building since, unfortunately, which I would love to in order to see if he's still there. But yeah, I mean, that there's something to be said for everybody's energy playing off of each other, and there's something to be said for group psychosis in some of these cases.
Yeah, that's why. Like the other night.
Like the other night, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a great example. Because you can put a thought into somebody's head. It's kind of like an Inception. If I tell you don't think about elephants, what are you thinking of?
Elephants.
But the other night, really weird, we had, what were we doing out here? We were doing something out here. In any case, we had gone through the garage. Light was not on because it was still daytime. Oh, we went out to the freezer to get something for dinner or whatever. But it was light in the outside, and so there was enough light in the garage. We didn't have to turn the light on. So we go back inside. I forgot something out there. I went back into the garage, and the light was on, and then it turned off. The switch was in the off position, so it was just the light was on, and then all of a sudden it was off. I was like, what the heck was that? So, I called Shauna over, told her what happened, but it compromised the situation.
And he asked me, do I feel anything? I was like, well, now I'm expecting to.
Right.
So if I do feel something, I'm going to have to blow it off. Because, my body is pre-programmed that something's in there. So then am I also going to be programmed to feel something? And is it going to be a false positive? So now I got to blow it off. So now I'm not going to go and check it out. But then I stepped in and I'm like, nope, I don't feel anything. But was there really anything there? Or did I just flip the switch and be like, nope, we're not going to feel anything because we're supposed to feel something.
Right.
So then it was like an internal, like a back and forth thing in my head. And I just went back inside because I was like, fuck it, I'm not even going to worry about that.
So, all right, let's get to some of these other questions because we're kind of winding down. We've spent a lot of time here on, crossing over and things like that, which, the focus was, supposed to be paranormal mysteries. And that is a mystery of the paranormal and supernatural world as to what exactly happens there when these people do attempt that. We don't really know.
That is an awesome name.
What?
Cherry Snot. I love that. Oh, jeez. I love that. But we're talking, I was reading.
Let me get into some of these questions that we've had for a while sitting here. So, it was Zippy Davis. I got to scroll back up here. Well, actually, before that, Katie Birdie wanted to know, do the hoodies run small? Yes, you can order a small hoodie.
Yeah. Well, but I think they run small in size. I ordered a size larger than what I would normally wear just in case.
I think you should do, whenever you order something online, you should do that anyway. Zippy Davis asked, though, the difference between a demonic haunting and a poltergeist. So a demon is something that has never walked the earth as a human. A poltergeist. Remember, we talked earlier the difference between a poltergeist and the PK manifestation of poltergeist activity. So, but in both cases, they're human. So a poltergeist being a quote-unquote noisy ghost would be, somebody that had been a human in life, and then somebody manifesting poltergeist activity is a human themselves. So so you can see the differences right there. A demon is just not even human at all, while the others originate from some sort of human spirit or a living human. So Betty Lange had asked, do you feel community sharing helps to better understand or solve some activity? Yeah, I think so. I think coming together and discussing these topics and bouncing ideas off of each other is definitely healthy. I know a lot of people that will hold back on evidence that they've collected and things that they've experienced because they're holding out for some sort of television show gig. I've seen that so many times where somebody was going live and they captured this activity, and I'm sitting there watching. I was like, whoa, that was pretty cool. And they take it down because they're trying to get a hold of a television show and be like, look, I'm the awesome investigator. You want me on your show? Look what I captured. Before, and some people get afraid that people are going to steal it and lay claim to, this is what I captured. I mean, I throw everything out there. To me, if you're going for the whole television show thing anyway, it's just throw it out there, because they're not looking for what you have in the reserve tank. They have to find you to begin with. And like the whole Alaska Triangle thing, they found me from one of our least viewed videos, which is ridiculous. But I happened in that particular video to cover a topic they were looking for. So you never know. So people that hold it back for that reason is, for one, it's vain. And for two, yeah, you're not doing the any service for the community. If you are in it for the right reasons, which is to try to discover what these different mysteries about the paranormal are, you don't have all the answers. You have to do research. You have to talk to other people who may have already had some of these other experiences. It's a walk in the shadows. The experiences in this book are not just my shadow person experiences, even though I've had a lot of experiences with shadow people. There are experiences from people from all over within this book as well, because I haven't had an experience from all the different types of shadow people that are out there. Plus, there's a lot of great examples of shadow person activity in certain situations that I have not yet been in. And so it's an interesting study, talking to all these other people with their experiences, and really discovering that there's a lot more we don't quite yet understand about these type of entities, but you get a better idea and a better picture when you talk to more people. So, all right. And on that topic, Leslie Fear, Mike, shadow people don't always have to be evil or demons. They can just be spirits trying to scare us, correct? That is correct. And shadow people don't even necessarily have to be trying to scare you. Sometimes you walk into a room and a shadow darts across the room, and it's like you scared it. So that's a common misconception about shadow people. And I have a chapter in there, are they evil? There's even a chapter in there on demons. No, they're not all evil. To me, they're like people. They're a different type of people. They're shadow people, right? But they have their own free will. They have their own ideas and grand schemes and plans or whatever. Some are good, some are bad, just like people are. So it's overly simplistic. Some people are good, some people are bad. Some shadow people are good, some shadow people are bad. It's just, depends on the shadow person themselves. So, let's see. Dustin, got a question for you guys. If you pass away, can you jump planes? Like pass away at the place you're at, then jump to a friend's? Actually, when I first read that, I thought he meant airplanes. Like, could you start like jumping on
another plane of existence?
Another plane of existence. That's a good question. Can we start traveling interdimensionally? Perhaps. Perhaps we can. There are some theories out there that everything right now is concurrent. So even if you do pass away, everything's happening at the same time. So those different planes of existence are already there, and so you can kind of just slip right into them. So possibly, yeah. That's some of that deeper research that I was talking about earlier that we need to do. Let's see. We asked these. Tom McNicholas, I believe that when you die, you're visited by a shadow person called the Grim Reaper and takes you to that interdimensional realm. So I also cover that in here. Grim Reaper is not a shadow person. A Grim Reaper is actually a psychopomp. He's the representation of death. A lot of people confuse him with a shadow person because of the way he dresses. He kind of dresses like a hooded figure type shadow person, but he's a different entity entirely. So,
but that's how it happens in the movies, though. So maybe that's how it happens in reality.
Well, and even in the movies, Grim Reaper isn't a shadow person. Grim Reaper is Grim Reaper.
Oh no, it shows up with a. Can't even see its face.
Well, yeah, that's why people think that he's a shadow figure, but he's not. He's not. He's his own thing. He's not even like people talk about. All shadow people being evil or bad or whatever. They're not. Grim Reaper is not bad. He's just doing his job. When somebody's time, it's time for them to go, and he's like, okay, I'm here. Let's go.
Well, maybe he's good, because he's making sure you're not alone. That's got to be scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me take your hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let me see if you guys have any other questions here at the end. I think Shauna needs to get in.
Yeah. Usually at night, whatever this crud is always worse at night. So.
All right. Let me see. Just once more through here.
Cherry Snot has some interesting stuff in here.
All right.
Really.
Well, if you can find it, then we'll hit it real quick.
Well, it's like all through here.
All right. So
Oh my God.
And there's the demon stomach. So yeah, we need to get Shauna in. She's got sinus stuff going on. She's got the demon stomach going on. I can only imagine what the podcast is going to sound like.
She was.
Well, if there's any final questions, throw them down there and we'll cover it.
I want to explore more on my sleep paralysis demon. It's not like the old hag stories of paralysis, but mine calls my name in corners and I can't move. So that's pretty
okay. That's interesting. Yeah, have an entire section in there on sleep paralysis. I'll say this: the medical community, they try to pawn off shadow people experiences as hallucinations during sleep paralysis. Now, I've had many shadow people experiences, and I've also had sleep paralysis, never together. The sleep paralysis moments that I've had, never had any type of shadow entities, and all the shadow people experiences I've had, never had sleep paralysis. So they're wrong. I also throw this at them that, hey, why is it with your idea of, saying it's, sleep paralysis, hallucinations, all that, I dream of all kinds of stuff. Basically, they're saying that you're caught in that state between sleeping and awake, and your dream is basically playing out as a hallucination inside your bedroom. But, I dream of all kinds of different things. There could be trees in my dream, airplanes flying overhead, motorcycles, whatever. But it's always a shadow person that shows up, right? I've had dreams of being on stage with Motley Crue, but I've never woken up to, the crowd of 10,000 people and pyrotechnics going off and, loud music. No, this never happened. So as cool as that would be. So yeah, they're wrong. Plain and simple. All right. Let me scroll through here one last time. All right. So Zippy, what does it mean if you have a dream and it feels like it's happening in real life? Yeah, well, I mean, it could be a very fantastic lucid dream. It could just, straight up be a dream. Sometimes it could be a look at a past life. I've had that happen before. I've actually experienced a past death in a dream. Not fun. So there's a couple different things that it could mean. And I see some people down there agreeing with me. I guess Cherry Snot agreeing with me that the medical explanation is not true. Yep, it's not true.
Yeah, it's not true.
And Stacey Comiskey saying I had sleep paralysis was not fun. That's true. Actually, real sleep paralysis is not fun. The first time it ever happened to me, I was in a very compromising position. I was actually sitting down, and I was consciously awake, but my body was so exhausted it just shut down, and basically everything to me was dark. I could hear everything going on around me, but I couldn't move. I was scared. I didn't know if I was going to get out of it. So yeah, I was terrified. What?
I saved you.
What do you mean you saved me?
Yeah, I did. I was like, Mike.
Oh, that was a different time. I'm talking about the first time I ever had sleep paralysis, which,
okay.
I mean, that was like 20 years old.
The last weird one that's in there.
Yeah, well, that was a whole weird dream. Yeah, I had actually that was within the dream. I was paralyzed. Now that was weird. Yeah. So, all right. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. We'll get to some shout outs.